Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Limbus Company reaction. Today we have Intervallo Boss Theme 5-1. This one was just the most voted in the last comments section, and as much of a train wreck as that video kind of was, it was also nice having people like clarify things about the storyline in this game that I just wasn't sure about and how the cantos and intervallos worked. That helped a lot of my understanding of how these things kind of connect together. And while I'm still going to be definitely confused, and that's not like a whole lore dump or anything, it's a little bit, and it does do a lot of good for me, but I'll digress there, and let's get to this song, shall we? Let's go. Okay. Is this gonna be like trap? What's going on here? Kind of has some acid qualities to it. Okay, more like a club trance now. Can't really place what this one is in genre. Got atmosphere elements and everything. A little bit of a hodgepodge. Ooh. So in for a halftime build-up, are we? Okay. Very atmospheric drop. Love that synth in there too. It's like a creature bursting from the earth. Sounded a little Ghostbustery. Very spooky song. Got some horror elements to it. Got another build-up. What are they gonna do this time? Speeding up a little bit. That's a full atmosphere drop. Removing the core beat. It's just letting you sit here. Oh, they're having fun with the design of these synths. Ghostbusters are back. So is the beat. Ooh, that was a really cool layering of that synth in there. There's so many effect synths in this one. Pulsating bass line. Is that the first time that bass line has been there? That like whoop, 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 whoop. I don't think that was in there until then. That was a really cool way to end that. Man, okay, that one just screams story. So let me do my best to give you the ideas I was handed. So like I mentioned during the reaction, this song has a lot of what I would refer to as horror elements to the sound. There's a lot of synths in there, a lot of modulation that makes this song sound very much like a stereotypical horror soundtrack piece, something that has all of those characteristics characteristics thrown in there, like the synth, like the key even. This whole thing is kind of written in this area of just making you feel a little uncomfortable, and everything is a little bit dark. It almost signals a very similar thought to Chaos Beta that I just listened to from Zenless Zone Zero, which is like this seedy underbelly, like you don't really want to be there. This one's not quite as aggressive about it. It's a little bit more subtle, which makes me think whoever the boss is here or wherever they are is less of like a seedy underbelly of a city and more of like maybe an abandoned laboratory might make more sense, especially given the overall story of Limbus Company. That kind of makes more sense to me, at least for the location. That would totally track more than like a weird seedy underbelly. But at the same time, maybe, you know, like I could see both really being the case, but everything with the synths in here was kind of leaning more towards the like evil scientist corner of sound design, which also borders on the whole supernatural thing, which is kind of where I was getting that Ghostbusters feel, because they use a lot of the same approaches to their synth sound design. And then just all the atmospheric elements in here as well were just making it feel like I was in a specific building, not so much an open street with like multiple avenues of escape. It was more claustrophobic than that. I felt like there was a lot more stress in this moment, and no matter who I would be fighting in this case or whatever the scenario would be, there's just really not much of a sense of being able to leave. And I think a lot of that feeling has to do with how the song was processed and also written, like starting off a little bit more paced and then trying to build into something that felt faster, but then backing off to this much more ominous sort of presence, this much larger presence. When you slow a song down, it gives the feeling that the antagonist in the scenario is much bigger than you are, whether or not that's literal or figurative. Maybe they're more intelligent than you and you just can't feel that way to escape because you feel like you can't outsmart them, or if you literally can't because you can't get past them because they're taking up half the screen. Either one would fit that, but this really feels that way, and maybe that like screeching in there, that synth that I was saying sounded like something roaring from the abyss below you, like tearing out of the earth, might have been partially inspiring that whole feeling of maybe this is a lab, because it felt very mechanical. Maybe there's this giant creature that somebody can control that can keep you in place, something like that. But then at the end, when it did kind of pick up a little bit, maybe that was kind of the final push. They do that a lot with these songs, that whole feeling of moving the battle along. You have something that's a little bit more slow and methodical, something that kind of pressures you to fight and pay attention, but then also evolves later to like push your anxiety closer to the, hey, okay, time to pick it up. You're almost done here. You don't have much time left. Get your shit together. But the biggest thing for this song is definitely that it feels a little bit mechanical. It feels like there is somebody or something that just will not let you go. You can't leave, which when you have a boss is usually the case because you want them to feel threatening. So you have to have them be superior to you as the player in some way, shape, or form. But this song is just really neat with how it like throws in all those sound design elements to like make you feel like you're just in a place in your mind and physically that you just can't run from. It really does that well. Every sound in here, every synth that's scattered and sprinkled throughout the song, even like the one at the end that I was mentioning that was just kind of in there and it disappeared. It's like, that's creepy. Was that something above my head? Like, they've done that sort of thing in these songs for these games before, and it's always cool when they do it. I remember I think it was a Lobotomy Corporation song that had like a sound that felt like it was in the vents around your head and it was like mixed that way. I can't remember if it was a Limbus Company song or a Lobotomy Corporation song, but it was that effect, and I was like, this is so neat. And this is kind of hitting similar areas, not quite as atmospheric as that one was, but it definitely uses some very similar approaches, and I really do appreciate it for that, because at large I really don't hear too many things that are like this atmospheric. You do get some atmosphere in most of their songs, but most of the time you're kind of finding a character, so they want to lean more towards the motif end and make you remember things about the character or tell the story through the sound that way, compared to making you feel like you're in the location, which is what a lot of these atmospheric things do. But I think that's about all I gotta say on this one. I feel like I'll start repeating myself as I do sometimes if I keep going, but this was really neat because it had that perfect blend of like, ooh, I can kind of tell where the character's coming from and maybe where we are. It was kind of giving me the whole picture of this fight, which of course does happen pretty often in these. They do really well with their character themes and boss themes others for that, but this one just kind of had its own category of that balance, and it really held itself up well. So brilliant song here. But either way, I'll digress there. Thank you all so very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you have any other songs from Limbus Company or Lobotomy Corporation or anything else from Project Moon that you want me to get to, leave it in a comment below and I will do my best to get to it as always. And of course, if you just like this video and you want to follow me for other stuff in the future, you know how to do all that, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye!